I had never been to Israel until 2022. I always boycotted official travel to Israel when I was at the CIA. I was an Arabist. I speak Arabic. I studied, one of my degrees is in Arab studies. I got a minor in Islamic theology. I love the history. I love the poetry. I love the culture. I loved living there. So I never went to Israel. And then when I went to the Foreign Relations Committee, I was there less than a week when AIPAC came to my office. Hey, welcome to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. I was like, yeah, thank you. How about a free trip to Israel? We would love to show you the Holy Land. I was like, no, thanks. Oh, you'll never forget it. It'll be the greatest trip of your lifetime. No, thanks. They took an army of people. And I said, yeah, I'm not going. So I didn't go. I went on my own dime in 2022. And I made sure to see everything, not just Tel Aviv and the old city of Jerusalem. I wanted to see Palestine.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, I know that you've been there and you've seen it. It's something you can't forget. You can't forget the giant walls.
I have to go. I haven't been.
You haven't? Oh my God. It'll be life-changing. It's transformative. You see the barbed wire, you see the minefields, you see, I mean, when life in Gaza was quote unquote normal,
right,
they had 5 hours of electricity and 2 hours of water every day. What the heck is that? Israel's a first world country with one of the most advanced technological economies in the world. It's not that there's no water and no electricity. It's that the Israelis don't want to let them have it.
Right, of course.
And it's just getting worse and worse and worse.
I ask this question a lot because I think that they're kind of fascinating, overlapping, sometimes distinct, depending on who you ask, answers. But what is it that makes the United States so unquestioningly support Israel?
Looking back on things, I think it started during the Nixon administration, because it was Richard Nixon who declared Israel to be a major non-NATO ally. And that was the first time that they had been designated as such. And it was Nixon in a nationally televised speech who said that we would never, ever allow a major threat to Israel, that we would do anything to save and to protect Israel. And then, after that, we looked the other way when Israel took custody of South Africa's nuclear weapons. We looked the other way when they herded Palestinians into these ghettos. We looked the other way when they started taking Palestinian land and giving it to Israeli settlers, many of whom are Americans, by the way. It was Nixon that really got all that started. And having lived a good part of my adult life in the Middle East, I can tell you, Arabs from the taxi driver, the illiterate taxi driver, all the way up to the emirs and the sheikhs and the kings and princes, they all tell you the same thing, that the only two presidents who gave the Arabs a fair shake since the creation of Israel were Dwight Eisenhower and George H.W. Bush. And that's it. Everybody else has been a sop for the Israeli government. And you look back through the history books, and it's true, actually.
There is an insane story that I think you have seen covered. But speaking of the dehumanization of Palestinians and the casual acceptance of anti-Palestine racism, Brad, can you show that news story that
I know what you're talking about.
I could not believe this. This is like, you really can't make it up.
No joke. I had to read it twice because I didn't believe it either.
It's unbelievable. Okay, so we have the video also. I'll read the headline and then the video will load. But man got out of car, shot two, he described as two Palestinians in Miami Beach, police say. Victims hospitalized.
Caught on camera, two men escaping danger after coming under fire in Miami Beach. The suspected gunman now behind bars. 7's Danielle Garcia is reporting live in Miami Beach with the very latest on the investigation. Danielle, good morning.
Good morning, Lorena. Well, the suspect told police that he shot and killed two Palestinians. Well, that statement could not be further from the truth. They are alive, they survived, and they're actually a Jewish father and son visiting from Israel. The entire situation just horrifying.
Frantic moments just minutes after a shooting. Two men on surveillance video banging on the doors, asking for help at a condo building on Indian Creek Drive in Miami Beach. You can see one of them bleeding. Later on Facebook, one of the victims posted in an Israelis in South Florida Facebook group saying, "Dear Jews, we need your help. My father and I were on vacation in Miami. We were in the car on Saturday night. A van stopped next to us and started shooting dozens of bullets at us. We live in a miracle. He shared a video of his car with all the bullets as well. Miami Beach police say this man, Mordechai Brafman, shot at them 17 times.
It's absolutely abhorrent.
This is an interview Brafman did with 7 News more than a year ago when a beach bagel shop displaying the Israeli flag was vandalized.
I'd love to see some unity and people coming together and fighting less and being together more.
In his interview, he called for unity, but Sunday he's accused of anything but. Brafman is being charged with attempted murder. Why Brafman allegedly shot is unclear, but in his arrest report it states, "It should be noted that while in custody in our interview room, the defendant spontaneously stated that while he was driving his truck, he saw 2 Palestinians and shot and killed both. The victims and the defendant do not know each other." Turns out the victims are actually Jewish from Israel. The victims were rushed to the hospital, one shot in the shoulder and the other grazed in the forearm. It all unfolded around 9:30 Saturday night. Police say the 2 victims were stopped on Alton Road just north of 48th Street when Brafman drove by them, stopped, got out of his car and opened fire. They say he then drove to a home a few minutes away on Pine Tree Drive where cops caught up with him and arrested him.
What's unbelievable about that story is that it didn't get that much coverage.
No.
It's unbelievable that a Jewish guy takes it upon himself to shoot 2 men he thinks are Palestinian. They happen to be Israeli Jews. An American Jew shoots them. It's interesting that they're like, it's not clear why he shot them. It's like, it's pretty clear why he shot them.
Oh, it's pretty doggone clear. It was a hate crime.
Yeah, it was a hate crime. Like, gone wrong. He's the worst hate criminal because he can't even, he shoots 17 times and hits twice, and he can't even identify, his target.
You know, I want to add something real quickly. I'm sorry to interrupt you. He had to have been using a 9mm semi-automatic because the extended magazine holds 17 bullets. So he unloaded the entire clip on those 2 guys, 17 shots.
Thank God he's such a bad shot. Seriously. Well, as if that's not
just incredible.
Insane enough, listen to how the victims presented this.
Oh, yeah.
So can you zoom in on it? So there's a great tweet from Kashif Chowdhury, but the image that we're looking at right now is actually what he screenshotted. "My father and I went through a murder attempt," and this is obviously translated from the Hebrew, so it's a little awkward. "My father and I went through a murder attempt against anti-Semitic background. They tried to murder us in the heart of Miami, but the creator of the world is with us, so he didn't go. I want to say thank you to everyone for their support, and it is not taken for granted. With Israel live, Israel Chai," or whatever is what he said. And then it says, "Death to the ARABS." I'm just spelling it out. And then, thank gratitude sign. So this guy thinks that he somehow was targeted because he's Jewish. He was actually targeted by a Jew because he was seen as Palestinian. And his response is death to ARABS. The pathological victimhood, the collision of the pathological victimhood on the one hand and the just unabashed anti-Palestinian racism on the other hand is such a great, disgusting amalgam of everything that's wrong with Zionism.